Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Robinson again, and we're going to continue our studies. We are talking about square root equations. The square root equation is a problem that have square roots in it and an equal sign. For example, square root of 2x minus 5 is equal to 7. Please note there might be more than one answer to these types of problems, often called an extraneous root. How to solve a square root equation. I have a little video I'll be showing in class. Step 1, isolate the radical terms. Step 2, take the square root of both sides. Step 3, solve and check for extraneous solutions. So there might be, again, more than one answer, which you have to avoid. So here's our first question. Solve for x. Square root of 2x minus 7 under the radical sign. Then we have a minus 3 equal 4. So let's write that again underneath it. 2x minus 7, that is under the square root. We got a minus 3 equals 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is get everything to the right side that will help me isolate the radical. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I'll have the square root of 2x minus 7, and that equals to 4 plus 3, which is 7. Now, since I have to get rid of the square root sign, I'm going to do the opposite of square rooting, which is squaring. And I'm going to do that to both sides. So I'll have the opposite of square rooting is squaring, and that cancels out the square root sign. So that'll leave me with just what's inside of the square root sign, the 2x minus 7. And I have equal to 7 squared. And now I have an equation that I can solve for x. So I add 7 to both sides, and I'll have 2x equals 56. Now, since I have that, 2x equals 56, all I got to do is divide by 2, and I'll be done. So x will equal to 28. So notice I only got one answer, but I got to check it just to make sure it's correct. So let's go back and check this. So x is equal to 28. So square root of 2 times x, which we said was 28, minus 7. Then we got a minus 3. This is going to equal to 4. All right, so let's put in our 28 in there, and let's do it. 2 times 28 is 56. And now I have 56 minus 7 underneath this radical sign. And then I'm going to subtract 3 and equals to 4. Well, let's see. 56 minus 7 is 49. And that's under the radical sign. And I got a minus 3 equals 4. So the square root of 49 is 7. Or it could be negative 7, by the way. So minus 3 equals 4, and 7 minus 3 is 4, so it does check out when I use the answer of x is equal to 28 in the problem. So I'm going to say my answer of x has got to be 28, and that's what we got. So here's one for you. Give it a shot. Solve it for A. If you get it right, great. If you don't, write down your questions, rewatch the video, and see if you can get it again. So check your understanding. I hope you're understanding what's going on so far. Here we're going to go a little further with our square root on both sides. I notice sometimes you have a square root on one side, 2 square roots on one side, whereas here we got a square root on both sides. So that's no problem. We want to isolate the square roots, which on both sides. So let's put our parenthesis around this and square these square radical signs. What that does, it cancels out the square root and the exponent of 2, leaving us with 2m minus 6 equals, and again, this square root cancels out with the exponent of 2, leaving us with 3m minus 14. So we have an equation with variables on both sides of the equal sign. So we'll minus 2m from this side, minus 2m from this side. The 2m's will cancel out, leaving us with a minus 6 equals 1 little m minus 14. So let's bring the 14 to the other side, plus 14, plus 14, and we'll finish up by canceling out the 14s on this side, leaving us with the m, and we cannot add these two, we have to subtract. 14 minus 6 is 8, and I'll choose the positive sign because 14 is bigger than 6. So my answer is going to be m is equal to positive 8. Now I better check that just to make sure. So let's check that, and you should never, by the way, write over your example because sometimes you have to come back to it, and if you've written all over it, you won't be able to see what it was. So I'll just erase that, and let's go back to check. So we said m is equal to 8. So let's get our square root. 2 times m, parenthesis, minus 6 is going to equal to the square root of 3 times m, whatever, let's put parenthesis around that, minus 14 underneath the radical sign. So let's place the m with 8 in both of these. So I have 2 times 8, which is 16, and don't forget this is underneath, so draw your radical sign correctly. And we have 16 minus 6 in our radical sign. By the way, that 16 minus 6 is radical 10. So let's take a look at what is this equal to on the other side. So we got 8 times 3, which is 24, and we're bringing down the minus 14. All of that is in the radical sign. 24 minus 14 also equals 10, and put our radical sign. So these are equal to each other, so we don't have to go any further to find out what their decimal value is. So we say m was equal to 8, and it did check out in this equation for us. So we are happy to see that it's going good. So try this one for yourself and see if you can get it right. And remember, sometimes you have to isolate the radical because it may be on both sides. So bring it over to the other side so that way it'll look like this, and then you can solve. So check your understanding. I hope you understand what's going on. If you don't, write down your questions and bring them in. All right, here's one more we're going to do, and this one we are going to solve it for v. Now I notice there is no double sets of square roots, so that's good. So, and sorry, Mr. Tien, for writing over my expression, but I'll erase it. So now I want to cancel out this radical sign, leaving me with the 2v minus 7. But notice on this side, because this is v minus 3, I cannot just put the square on the v. I have to put it together because v is being minused by a number. So this goes together. So I have to square both of that. So I'll have v minus 3 and one set of parentheses times v minus 3. We haven't multiplied using FOIL in a long time. So first terms, that'll give us v squared. Our outer, FO, that'll give us negative 3v. Our inner, that'll give us another negative 3v. And our last, that'll give us positive 9 on the right side. And this is equal to 2v minus 7. Remember, in FOIL, your inner and outer terms can be combined. That'll give you negative 6v. And we got v squared plus 9 on this side. And we got 2v minus 7 on that side. Let's try to get all the terms together so we can factor this out. So let's first add 7 to this side, and we'll add 7 to this side. That'll give us 16, which is positive, and we'll have v squared minus 6v, because the 7's canceled out. And over here we'll have just 2v left over. Now let's get the 2v over to here. So we're minus 2v from both sides, minus 2v, and the 2v's will cancel out, leaving us with equal to 0, which is what we need, because we want to solve this by factoring. We got v squared, we got a negative 6v and a negative 2v. That gives us a negative 8v because we're combining, and we have a positive 16. Let me just scroll down a little bit. All right, let us factor. Factoring, if you haven't saw my video on factoring, remember we're doing FOIL backwards. So we're looking for two terms that multiply to give you v, and that would be v and v. And then we play that game where we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give you positive 16 as well as add up to give you negative 8. And that would be negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, and negative 4 plus negative 4 is negative 8. So that would be it. Now we split this into two pieces, but it's the same piece, and set it equal to 0. And solve it for v. So let's solve for v. Plus 4, plus 4. 4's cancel out. V is equal to 4. Same thing on this side, so it was the exact same expression, but we'll solve it just in case. V again is equal to 4. So I'm convinced that v is equal to 4 in this problem. So let's go back, because the only way we can know is if we check it. So again, pardon me, Mr. Tien, for writing on my problem. So let's check it. So we said v is equal to 4. So let's use that in the original expression here, or equation. Square root of 2 times minus 7, and all of that's under the square root sign, equals to some number, which we call v, minus 3. So I'm going to replace, everywhere I see the v, I'll replace it with a 4. All right, so under here I have 2 times 4, which is 8, and that's minus 7. That's under the radical sign. And 8 minus 7, by the way, is 1, and that's under the radical sign. The square root of 1 is 1. So on this side we have 1. And on this side I have 4 minus 3. Well, that equals 1. And 1 is equal to 1. So I am convinced that v is definitely equal to 4. So there it checks out. So try this one for yourself, and it's worth extra credit if you can get it right. So look at this, 2 equals, we have two radicals on the same side. How would you deal with that? So I hope this lesson was easy for you. Check your understanding, and remember we're on YouTube, so watch our videos. Math Prep 2017 or Math Prep 17. It was our latest release, so check out our movie. It's a good movie. I think you'll enjoy it. My channel name is Dan Robinson. You can tweet me at drobmath1. So I hope you enjoyed the video and got something out of it. I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.